Welcome to the show, René Jenkins. You are a professional musician, ceremonial sound practitioner, healing performance and recording artist from California. You've been doing this for more than 30 years. You've performed sound healing concerts, blessings, and ceremonies for individuals and special groups throughout the US and internationally. It's really fantastic to have you with us. There's so much to talk with you about, René. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do tell us more.
Well, thank you. It's really great to be here. Thank you for doing this work, Skyler.
Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah.
Tell us how this got started for you.
Well, the sound healing practice kind of came on organically. As you know, since we've played together, I played trombone, but before that I played keyboard, piano. And it wasn't until I discovered the Australian didgeridoo through a friend who did the body work for the Grateful Dead. You know, he had a bunch of didgeridoos.
Right.
And he said, I just don't know how to breathe in circles. And I'm like, breathe in circles? You mean circular breathe? I know how to do that. As a kid in the bathtub, I learned how to circular breathe. I had no idea there was a practical, purpose for it. Yeah. But as soon as you start playing the didgeridoo and you point it to someone, they would open, they would do this. And I realized, oh, this is like a healing instrument. You know, I had studied shamanic practices and took lessons and studied shiatsu and Reiki. And so this was just natural that this flow was going to happen. And that was around 1990, 92. Mm-hmm. And I started doing sound attunements for people and playing for my teachers, different ceremonial events, like with plant medicine and that kind of thing. And I did that for 10 years before coming up with a sound healing practice called vibe therapy. And, you know, that was just pretty basic, where I would have people lay down on a table and we would hold an intention of where they would like the sound to go. And I would hold what they were thinking, whether it was, you know, physical healing or mental, emotional healing, or maybe they were wanting relationship. I would just hold that intention while I would play. And as I would play, we would both go into an altered state of consciousness, you know, like a trance state. And that's where all this information would come out. You know, people would be talking about their ancestors, you know, having conversations with their father, you know, or mother or whoever. Positive things. Sometimes it was dealing with very difficult issues of abuse or trauma. And it was just by kind of releasing the normal state of consciousness, kind of letting go of that normal state, dropping into more of subconscious, that where all this juicy information would come. And miraculous healings happen when you allow yourself to get into that deeply relaxed state.
Wow.
That was a lot, probably, to say in one moment, but it was on from that point. I was just employing everything that my teachers have taught me about. If you want to boil it down into one word, love is the most powerful healing force. There's many facets of love. There's love in the form of forgiveness and compassion, and love in the form of understanding yourself or another. And my teachers, some were like the Kashaya Pomo man up here. The Kashaya Pomo are from this area here in California, Northern California. Mm-hmm. And his name was Lawrence Smith. He's now passed. But he would talk about the sacred word Weya, which means in their culture, nurturing, healing energy. And as you give nurturing, healing energy to another, you are giving Weya. And Weya moves through you. Weya is all around us and, of course, moves through us when we're giving that nurturing, healing energy. So he would sing the word Weya as an invocation to bring the Weya out or through the other person. So sometimes his songs would be very emphatic, very like a march, like a call to arms, way ya, way ya, way ya, way ya, like bringing courage to the person. And sometimes way would be way, 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 like a melody, like a lullaby,
Mm-hmm.
and it would come in any form. And so he'd have me play the didgeridoo while he would sing to the person. He would sing Waya and see the person as whole, healthy, and well, not envisioning their illness or, the thing that they came to see him for, their bum shoulder or whatever. He would just see them in complete wellness, maybe even inspired. And he would sing to them in that way it's like a remembrance of, here's who you really are. This is your authentic self.
Okay.
The pain, the suffering, the trauma, that's maybe the symptom, and the actual thing that you're trying to move through in order to have more waya,
Yeah.
Employ the waya within you and around you to take the next step in your growth.
Wow, man. That's very powerful.
This is something else as a musician. I know you understand this, especially. You can sing or to someone, but if you include yourself in the loop, you can give someone all the love and nurturing and all that, but if you're not giving it also to yourself, you're not closing the circuit.
Right.
I really want to know a little bit more about the sorts of instrumentation that you utilize through your healing. Obviously, you use the didgeridoo we've mentioned there. Is it the more sort of ceremonial, if you like, instruments that you tend to use for the healing, or what does a typical kind of healing musically look like? Well,
the didgeridoo is one of the oldest wind instruments on the planet. We're not sure how old the Aboriginal culture goes back. Some say 30,000 years, some say 65,000 years, but so the didgeridoo could be that old. But I'm also playing other ancient indigenous instruments like the Mayan flutes. I have one here. It's a drone flute.
Okay.
Wow.
You can see that.
Wow.
And so it's a double-barreled, flute.
Wow.
Incredible.
It has one side plays, moves, and the other side is just a drone. So it has one steady pitch. So if I cover all the holes, see if I can see this a little better here, it'll make the same sound as the drone. So I can play it as a solo instrument. This instrument, this is a condor quill antara. The end of the feathers?
Yeah.
Are the quills.
Okay.
And this was dreamt by my teacher, Tito La Rosa, who's a Quechua Indian sound healer. He had a dream about this, and when he awakened from the dream, he made one, because you can find condor feathers easier down there in Peru. After he awakened from the dream and made one, he was later in a museum with his wife at the time and saw one as an artifact behind glass.
Oh, wow.
And so he thought, the dream came from my ancestors.
Wow.
Right?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And, really, this encapsulated this story because in Peruvian cosmology, they believe us humans reside in three worlds at the same time. We have a cosmic self, a cosmic world, which is the world of the condor. The upper world is this cosmic self. And we have this middle world here that we live in, which is the Kai Pacha. Pachas are worlds, which is the world of the Puma. And think of we're very present in this world. And as we're very, very present in this moment, we are aware of these whisperings of the upper world. And that could be creative thought.
Yeah.
It could be the flow of creativity or new things, new thought. And then we're also aware of this inner world, what's going on, which is where we come from, our ancestral past, even whisperings of our ancestors. So when he's playing this instrument, and as I've been taught, it's usually with a feather. And so you're playing to this part of yourself and us that is this cosmic self, and you bring it in with the feather, and it's about anchoring this part of ourselves that is beyond the body into this moment, to use the energy to do what we came here for, right?
Yeah.
This is big medicine. That's what they call it. Like indigenous cultures, when you are doing what you know to do,
Yeah.
and you're coming from your authentic self, which is your original medicine, and you express it in the world as you have in this form, right here on this, on your channel,
Yeah.
right? You're connecting with people and you're expressing what is most true. That's big medicine, and you're expressing that. And I think that's what we're all here to do.
Yeah.
So
Pass on the blessings.
yeah. So to me, it's about, the sound is about getting into an altered state to get my mini me, René, kind of to the side. You know, I needed the ego, I needed the thing to say, okay, I do this. And then once I've established that, I get that part out of the way, and I connect through my breath and feel my feet on the ground, get really present in this middle world, this Kai Pacha.
Okay.
Paying attention to what comes into my field, because if I start imagining or remembering my mother who has passed, for example, and I'm just tracking everything that's coming on, I'm thinking maybe this other person who I'm playing for is also lamenting the loss of their parent, or whatever relationship. So I will play like as a relationship. You know, I'm going to play to my mother, I'm going to play to theirs, and try to make a connection. And if I'm earnest in my emotion and my intent to do that, there is energy that suddenly is first of all, you're acknowledging it, you're validating it, and then you're playing to release whatever may be caught up in that, the story. You know, like, oh, I'm sad for my mom, I'm sad I don't have my mom, but yet I know now she's in a different place.
Yeah.
And she's not in suffering. And I can play to where she is right now, and then I can receive the love and blessings that she is giving me.
That's right.
We all have these stories this in common. So this is just, you know, these instruments are a way of that are ancient, ancestral. Kind of, I think they remind us of our past. They remind us of a time when we were more connected to the natural world.
Yeah.
And so I think anyone can blow into these instruments because they're like whistles.
Right.
And then it's just about connecting to the story and how you're going to play that story. It's like a soundtrack to a movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
a nice one.
Tom?
I'm just wondering, do you find them to purchase, or where do you, are they being made? Is it something that will die out as a method of making music, or is it being passed down to generations?
Oh yeah, there's instrument makers now. Guillermo Martinez and Nashtavua from the Zapotec or culture that's from Oaxaca. Ernesto. I mean, there's people that come from a lineage of instrument makers that are and have looked at archaeological artifacts. Because, you know, it's funny, you go down and a lot of the artifacts that were left that didn't have gold or precious stones or anything, they were just made of ceramic. So a lot of those things were left behind, fortunately. And what's interesting to me is that the further back you go into time in these archaeological finds, the more advanced we seemed. You know, with the megalithic architecture, these huge multi-ton blocks were somehow moved, shaped, put together seamlessly and into pyramidal shapes. it's basically technology that has been lost, like we forgot through some sort of cataclysm. And so the instruments, they did things with sound. We're already on that cusp of figuring out how sound can shift matter.
Yeah.
And, you've seen that in the cymatics, plate where they have the sand and they resonate.
Over in San Francisco at the, what's that place in San Francisco, the observatory or whatever it is?
Right. Yeah. I think
I've seen them do that. Yeah.
Cool. And in that way, that could be the whole orchestra of vibration that is going on, that it's shaping physical reality.
Yeah.
So that could be the thing that's holding us together right now, along with consciousness.
Yeah.
So, and maybe what helped form the Stones, what shaped the, who knows? We don't know fully, but all I know for sure is that when you and I speak from our center, which, our authentic self, when we're speaking our truth, we feel it. Right. We resonate that within each other. And that is enough to shift everything.
Yeah.
Our consciousness, our perspective, that we're actually connected to everything. So, this is to me, is the most exciting, piece.
Who were some of your favorite social conscious music heroes?
Well, Tito La Rosa is a Quechua Indian. I mentioned him before. Quechua Indian sound healer. He's considered a national treasure in Peru.
Okay.
And he used to work in different archaeological places. And these guys that would dig up stuff would be, discovered that Tito had an aptitude for playing these old instruments that no one knew what they were for.
Yeah.
And so he has sort of reconstructed the ancestral music of Peru and is credited for that. And a lot of these instruments were about mimicking or imitating the natural world.
Mm.
It's a powerful thing to play something that's like a bird, or have a shakapa. It's in the other room.
Yeah.
That shakapa is a leafy instrument. And to play it around someone is like taking the wind element and then moving it right to them with a rhythm. So you're taking the wind and you're focusing on them, and it's a whole thing.
It's powerful.
And so he takes the moolah that he makes, and he's trying to perpetuate the culture that right now is kind of being lost because of the individualization that's happening with people moving to cities. They move out of their family unit. They need to make money. They go into the cities to do that, and they fracture the family and cultural center in doing that. Unless they come back with the moolah, you know what I mean? So, there's a spirit in the folks that live in the mountains in the Andes, the Campesinos. They call it Aini, the spirit of Aini, where they all work together to till the fields, to build homes, and they do that for each other. And so the word Aini, which is A-Y-N-I, means sacred reciprocity. And they know as they take care of someone, they're going to be taken care of.
Themselves.
Right? Yeah. And, I guess the Amish kind of have that kind of thing too. But we're now coming together saying, there is a better way to live, to feel supported. We have to come together as a community.
Yeah.
Like this. And so in this way, I think music and sound, those are my heroes. And there's many people I think that are doing this.
Yeah, man. It's really beautiful that you're doing this, man. And
when are you on the subject of your sort of moving around internationally? Have you got any more of these kind of trips, concerts, or whatever you're able to do planned?
Yeah, nothing on the books internationally. it's very costly to do that. But I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm traveling to Boston next week, and so I'll fly around and I play for groups. Lately, it's been a lot of medicine work, plant medicines, which is great as well.
Yeah.
It's just another way to tune in, although it's in the dark most of the time. I do my process how I was taught, which is just to look at the directions and the archetypal energies of the warrior, the warrior leader, the healer, the teacher, and the visionary. And these directions are all aspects that we embody. So when I'm in the dark, I'm just having these conversations with the different ancestral instruments and calling in the forces of, what is it like to be a leader, to embody that archetype that you are, that is a leader and a warrior. And then the healer, then the visionary, why are you here? Why am I here? Does it need to change? What's my vision? So all these aspects of ourselves, it's nice to be in the dark to do that, but I'd rather see people. So I'm leading groups and doing just sound healings without medicine and all sorts of things, because you can, as with sound music, you can pretty much do anything and express this love.
Also, then, are you available? Sort of, are you on YouTube? Where can somebody see and maybe experience what you're doing? Are you available to be connected with through Facebook, or have you got a YouTube channel where you're playing?
Yeah, I have a website. It's called vibetherapy.org. And so that's the other gift of the sound. It kind of bridges the gap of distance between people.
Yeah,
right on.
Absolutely.
My brother, I love you. Namaste, namaste.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, René.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.